Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video. I know we're getting this one out a little late this week, but with this being such a big week of college football, I wanted to make sure to get this puppy out. So, here are our week 7 predictions for college football. Starting off tonight, we got the Maryland Terrapins at home taking on the Northwestern Wildcats. Friday night football. And it's on Fox or FS1. Most likely Fox. Um, Northwestern is a small, weak team here. I do like the Terps in this one. Give me Maryland to win by double digits. Give me Maryland 37 to 14. Up next, we have Iowa and Washington. Funny enough, this is the big noon game, big noon kickoff. Um, Fun fact: teams in the Big Ten traveling more than 2 time zones or more are 1-8. Coming into this week. And lo and behold, we got another 4 matchups where teams change 2 time zones or more this week. And this is one of them. Iowa does not know how to move the ball on offense. Iowa's defense is still very good. But Washington still, especially after last week's huge, amazing, awesome win over the Michigan Wolverines, definitely has my favor in this one. So I think Washington does just enough to get the job done. Give me Washington to win at Kinnick on the road, 21-9. Up next, we have Utah, Arizona State. Not a whole lot to go off with this one. Cam Rising's finally coming back, so I do think Utah has the edge here. Arizona State, I don't think has the good enough defense to stop the Utah offense, especially with the new addition of Cam Rising coming back. Give me Utah to win 28-10. Alabama taking on South Carolina. This is the noon ABC game. Noon on ABC, or if you're down in Bama country, 11 a.m., depending on your time zone. Alabama's looking to bounce back. Vanderbilt deeply exposed a lot of issues that Alabama still has. Bama does get the job done, but this one's looking to be close for a while, if not the whole way. Give me Alabama to win 28-24. I think Bama still has enough weapons to pull it off and come out with the W. Up next, we got Rutgers and Wisconsin. Wisconsin desperately needs this win to avoid a third loss this quote unquote early in the season. Rutgers is just looking outrageously awesome. They've had their just get buys. I mean, look at Look at the game against Washington. They only won the game by 3. So Rutgers is definitely battle tested for sure. So give me Rutgers to win in a close one, 21-17. I think Rutgers will probably score a last-second late touchdown just to end up winning the game. Next up, we got Army taking on UAB this week. And Army and Navy have both looked absolutely amazing to this point. And I don't see UAB being the team to knock Army off. If Army's going to lose, I think if Army's going to lose, I think it's going to be a bigger team, a team like either Navy could beat them, or realistically, I think Notre Dame would be the one to give them a loss. Now, both teams are awesome when it comes to the military branches. But I got to say, Army's just blasting everybody that they play. Look what they did last week. I think Army wins easily over UAB. Give me the Black Knights to win 45-7. Next, we have the Red River rivalry, which apparently is being called by Fowler and Herbstreit, which is just absolutely amazing because Herbstreit will be at game day. And game day will be in Eugene for Ohio State, Oregon, which we will get to later. So either Herbstreit's going to have to leave game day early, or he's going to be late to the game he's supposed to call. Just an interesting little fact. Now, for the game itself, this game is full of magnitude. So here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm rooting for Oklahoma to win. That being said, because there's a little thing that we'll get into later, either the next game or the Ohio State Oregon game, probably the next game, that I would like to see happen. Now, will it happen? Who knows? But with that being said, I'm not stupid when it comes to picking the games. Not all the time. I'm going to take Texas to win. I think this really could be a shootout. Granted, 2 years ago, we did see Texas blow out Oklahoma in this game, 49-0. I don't think that will happen, but who knows? Anyway, my prediction for this game is I'm taking Texas to win 35-31. Now, one of the biggest games to pay attention to this week, USC and Penn State. As I hinted at in the previous game with Texas, there's a lot on the line there. So, Ohio State plays Penn State the first weekend in November, which is in a couple of weeks. And if all the marbles fall just right, Penn State, Ohio State could be 1-2. For that to happen, Texas has to lose to either Oklahoma or Georgia. I think even Vanderbilt could be the loss because um, it's still before that game, I think. But uh, USC is kind of tricky right now. I mean, yes, I would like to see Penn State win, and that's why I'd like to see Oklahoma win. But USC's a little tricky. I'm almost nervous when picking USC games because of the fact that they're so up and down. Um, Penn State, Penn State likes James Franklin, and it finally dawned on me, and I'm sure I'm late to the party, but they like James Franklin because James Franklin allows them to not end up like Florida State. Nobody wants to be Florida State right now because you can't afford to go all in one year because of the way that college football is set up now. You're going to have a fall off a la Florida State the year after you go all in or shortly after. So I like Miller Moss. Drew Aller's good at quarterback. He fits the Penn State system perfectly. You have the time zone thing going against Penn State, but I mean, this would be Penn State's first real test of the season, in my opinion. Um, you know what? Screw it. Give me Penn State to win in a classic and revenge game because they haven't beaten USC since 2000. So the fact that my pick is going to be Penn State goes against everything history has told me. Historically, USC should win the game. I just don't have enough confidence in the Trojans. So give me Penn State, and Penn State will win in a tough, classic, double-digit win, 28-17, as Penn State finally gets revenge and wins against USC for the first time since 1996. Next, we have Notre Dame, and they're taking on the tree, Stanford. Stanford tree. And lo and behold, I think this is going to end up being kind of an easy game for Notre Dame. I don't expect Notre Dame to have any trouble here. Stanford is Stanford of new, and they're still struggling on both sides of the ball. Notre Dame looking pretty good, especially coming off of that NIU loss. It was kind of a fluke. Anyway, give me Notre Dame to win easily and handedly, 44-6. Now we got Pitt and Cal. And Pitt is undefeated. Pitt is ranked. Honestly, though, I think Cal is at a point where they need to either win the game or they're going to lose, and they're going to revert back to regular old Cal. So for Cal, this game is important, but Pitt, being the dynamic duo style of offense that they are, they've looked pretty good as of late. Give me Pitt to win the game. I think it'll be close. Give me Pitt to win 28-24. Next, we have Illinois. Illinois is taking on Purdue. This game for Illinois is make or break for them. So, give me Illinois to win. Um, it's at home, I believe. I can't read this small print. I think Illinois has plenty of weapons and are good enough to win this game. So give me Illinois to win 35-14. Purdue not good. Next, we have the game the Big Noon Kickoff is going to. We have BYU, Arizona. Arizona's been a little up and down this year. BYU undefeated, if I remember correctly. Home of the Mormons. It's at BYU. Both new-ish members of the Big 12. Arizona definitely new. I think this is BYU's second year. I just think BYU overall is just going to be too much for Arizona. Arizona will put up a fight, though. Give me 38-30 BYU. Next up, we got Georgia and Mississippi State. Seems like after that loss to Alabama, Georgia just steamrolls everybody as they're on their way to the SEC championship game with at least one roadblock in Texas. I think Texas could be another hiccup for Georgia, but that's in a couple of weeks. So give me Georgia to win. I think Mississippi State, after they just got completely destroyed a couple weeks ago by Florida, I don't think Mississippi State has a lot going for them. Give me Georgia to win big, 49-20. Next up, we got the Tennessee Vols and the Florida Gators. It's at Tennessee this year. This game has historically been known to be crazy in general. Give me the Gators to win. No, sorry. Give me the Vols to win, especially coming off of that bad loss last week. So we know they're beatable, but I think Tennessee bounces back. I think Tennessee bounces back. Give me the Vols to win by a score of 28-21. Finally, the game we've all been waiting for. Ohio State and Oregon. Now, this game is Ohio State's biggest, most important game to date. You keep hearing constantly, well, who has Ohio State played? Yeah, they're undefeated. Good. Who has Ohio State played? Now, Iowa is a better team than the first four teams Ohio State's played. And granted, the last two have been conference games. But Michigan State might as well be a group of 5 team. Sorry, Spartan fans, because I know there are some of you out there that follow me and watch my videos. This is almost a must win for Ohio State. And I think the spread is right, being single digits. Both quarterbacks have thrown 3 interceptions. I think Ohio State's defense can do just enough to rattle Dylan Gabriel and do just enough to allow us to hold down and win the game. I think um, Will Howard needs to not let the lights blind him. Not let the moment get too big for your britches. That's going to be the one of the biggest things, one of the most important things here. I expect Jeremiah Smith to get at least one touchdown, one receiving touchdown. He could have another Michigan State night and have a rushing touchdown to go with it. He sits currently at what is it, 7 total touchdowns, 6 receiving touchdowns. So, I mean, he's inevitably gonna break Chris Carter's record of 8 receiving touchdowns as a freshman. Um, but yeah, and he's on pace, I think, to break Travion's record for total touchdowns as a freshman at 19. Um, he's 12 away from tying it, 13 away from breaking it. But I think he'll get at least one touchdown. Will Howard needs to play a darn near perfect game. Um, but I think it will be a close, tight game. I think Ohio State wins 35-31. Don't get upset if you see a nail biter in this one. This could be a lot of back and forth. But give me Ohio State 35-31. Up next, we got LSU Ole Miss. Not a lot to say here. Not a lot left to say on most of the games that we have. Um, this one is up in the air for me. This is a top 15 matchup. 7:30 on ABC. Definitely a game worthy to battle Ohio State, Oregon. But I think Ole Miss has enough weapons, and I think Ole Miss does just enough to get the job done here. 21-13, Ole Miss. Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Now, Vanderbilt's coming off the huge 5-point win over Alabama. They need to not fall off after the big win. Kentucky can be a little tricky. It's at Kentucky. Sorry, excuse me. It's at Kentucky. Basically going on the same time as Ohio State, Oregon, and LSU Ole Miss. I think Vanderbilt can squeak this one out. I don't have enough faith in Kentucky. I think Vanderbilt can squeak this one out. Give me Vanderbilt to win 34-28. Next, we got West Virginia, Iowa State game. West Virginia unveils their coal miner uniforms for this week. All black unis for West Virginia. I think it's time for somebody that's undefeated to fall. Granted, if Ohio State wins or loses, right there, undefeated, they fall. Give me Iowa State to win in a close one. Sorry, West Virginia fans. I do root for West Virginia usually. I just think this is Iowa State's year. They're on a complete tear, and I don't think there's really anybody that could stop them. Give me Iowa State to win in an instant classic, 31-30. We got 3 games left, so let's kick this thing out. All right, next we got Marshall and Georgia State. Georgia State I don't think has the offensive firepower to keep pace with Marshall. Marshall's defense, ever since they played Ohio State and outside of Virginia Tech and Ohio State, have looked pretty good to very good. Marshall's offense is mostly the problem. But last week they looked really good as they beat the holy crap out of App State. Give me Marshall to win big here. I think Marshall wins 56-20. Next, we got Minnesota on the road against UCLA. UCLA got embarrassed by Indiana a couple weeks ago. UCLA looked really bad last week against Penn State. Only scored late in garbage time when the game was pretty much over. It was clear who was going to win. So Minnesota's coming off of a huge upset over USC. Give me the Golden Gophers to win back-to-back games over former Pac-10 or 12 Pac-12 teams. The Gophers win 28-17. And finally, we're only talking about this because they're undefeated and Heisman implications with Ashton Genty. Boise State at Hawaii. Boise State should just run over Hawaii handily, easily, without a shadow of a doubt. Very, very easily. I think Boise State wins. Ashton Genty, mark my words, racks up count them, 3 more touchdowns. One of those longer than 60 yards because he's had at least one touchdown every game longer than 60 yards. I think, is it 60 or 80? It's definitely 60 at least. But yeah, mark my words. Boise State to win 63-10. All right. I know this one was long. We got a jam-packed week this week, so that's why there was a lot of games to pick from. But I hope everyone enjoyed this week's pick'em. Hopefully next week's not as long. Hope to see everyone in the next video and have a wonderful weekend. Everybody enjoy the football because we've got plenty of football this weekend. And we will see you back here next week or next time. Have a wonderful day. And Buckeye Mike signing off.